Signing up for an AWS account is a straightforward process, but securing it from day one is absolutely critical. Today, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the process of setting up your AWS account for the first time and securing it so that you're ready to build some real projects. Hi, if you're new around here, my name is Ryan. I'm an AWS certified solutions architect and developer, and my goal is to teach you modern cloud system design using AWS. Let's jump in. All right, so jumping into the browser here, we're just going to go over to aws.amazon.com and we're going to click on create account. It's going to ask you for your root user email address and the account name. The account name can be changed later, so don't think too hard about it. Then you're going to have to verify the email address that you use. All right, now that you've successfully verified, you're going to go ahead and set your root user password. If you're not familiar what the difference is between root user and IAM user, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. So once you set your password, you're going to be able to choose an account plan for your AWS account. If you choose free, then your account just won't charge you beyond those free tier limits. One thing to note is that if you do choose the free version, if you neglect to pick a paid version later, then your account will automatically close. So if you're really just trying to mess around with AWS and just get comfortable with it, go with the free tier, but just don't forget to convert it to a paid tier if you want to keep using it. All right, so now we're just going to put in all of our personal and our billing information for the account. And then we have to verify our phone number. And one thing that I'll note is that if you pick a paid plan, you are going to have to pick a tier of support that you want to use, but I would just suggest taking the free tier, especially if it's just your first account. So now we've set up our AWS account. The only user that's in that AWS account is the root user that is tied to the email that you used when you set the account up. As a best practice, you never want to use your root user for doing your day-to-day administrative tasks in AWS. And this is just because the root user has the ability to do things that even an administrator IAM user can't do. So from a security perspective, you should always use an IAM user, and I'm going to show you how to set that up. But first we have to log in as our root user so that we can set up that IAM user for our day-to-day tasks. So when you first go to the login console, you're going to probably get taken to the IAM User Sign In. You're just going to click sign in using root user email. Once you get to the root user sign-in page, the best part about this is that multi-factor authentication already got set up when you created your account. So at a baseline, your root user is already secured behind multi-factor authentication, which is a super nice security feature of AWS. All right, so let's log in as our root user and then we'll jump into the console. All right, so now that we're in the console as our root user, we're going to go ahead and go over to IAM. IAM is how we're going to manage all of the users that use our account. The first thing that we're going to do while we're here is we're going to set up MFA for our root user. MFA is technically already set up using our email, but this is going to require us to use some sort of MFA device like an authenticator app in order to secure the account even further. All right, so we set up MFA for our root user. Now let's go ahead and create our administrator IAM user that we'll use for our day-to-day AWS console administration. We'll click on users and we'll click on create user. We're going to call it Ryan, and then we're going to click the box that says provide user access to the AWS management console. AWS recommends that you use something called IAM Identity Center. Identity Center allows you to have a centralized place to manage users, especially if you're using multiple AWS accounts. For simplicity's sake, though, we're just going to go ahead and create an IAM user, and we're going to give it a password so that we can log into the console with it. We're going to auto-generate a password, and then we're going to enforce that that user has to reset their password when they log into the console for the first time. All right, so AWS user permissions are managed through something called policies. You can either attach policies directly to a user, or you can create a group that you can attach those policies to and then add users and remove them from that group. It's a lot easier to manage if you use groups. So let's go ahead and create group. We'll call it admin and we'll give it administrator access. Hit create user group, and now we can select that group and we can add the user to it. Because we opted to give this user a password so they could log into the console with it, they also get the IAM change user password policy attached automatically. We'll hit create user and we can download the CSV file that has those credentials in it. All right, so there's one additional thing that we have to do to make sure that this admin user actually has full permissions to view everything they could need to inside of the console. AWS has made it so that billing and cost management is a separate concern from just regular administrator privileges. So we actually need to make it so that our IAM users are actually able to view that data. What we'll do is we'll just click on our account drop down here and we'll go to account. If we scroll all the way down here, we can see IAM user and role access to billing information, and it is deactivated as a default. We'll hit edit and activate IAM access. All right, so we logged out and we're back here at the login page for the console. Now we can actually use the IAM User Sign In. So you're going to need either the account ID, which is the 12-digit code that is created to identify the account, or you're going to need the alias that you set when you signed up for the account. Either one works in this case. And then of course the IAM username that you created, as well as the password, which we got from that CSV file that we downloaded when we created the user. Once you input all of those things, it's going to ask you to reset your password, and then you can log into the console as your IAM user. All right, so now we have officially logged in for the first time as our IAM user. And now there's one additional thing that we're going to set up to make sure that this IAM user is as secure as our root user is. We'll head over to IAM, and we are going to add MFA for this user as well. All right, so now that that's been set up, we're going to do one final thing to make sure that our account is ready to use. We're going to head over to billing and cost management, and then we're going to scroll down here on the left to budgets, and we'll hit create budget. It's really nice because it allows you to keep track of how much money you're spending in your AWS account. Now for the first little bit that you're going to be using the account, you do have those $200 in free credits, so this is less of an issue. However, if you do decide to switch your account to a paid version, then you're going to want to know when you're spending money in AWS. The worst thing in the world is to spin up some resources and then just have them running in the background and you don't even realize that they're costing you money. This budget alert is going to help to mitigate that. So we're just going to do a budget template, and we're going to do a monthly cost budget. You can choose a name. I usually like to make sure that this is set to probably about $20. And then when that threshold gets exceeded or is projected to be exceeded, then it will get sent to these emails. So there's going to be 3 different triggers for this budget out of the box. When your actual spend reaches 85% of your budgeted amount, when it reaches 100% of your budgeted amount, and when the forecasted amount is set to reach 100% of your budgeted amount. This has saved me so much money over the long run, just having a simple email that gets sent out to let you know, hey, you're going to be spending a lot more money than you anticipated this month. So once you've entered the emails that you want to get notified, you can click create budget. And then you can actually click here on the budget and you can go to alerts, and then you can fine tune these to be whatever values you want. And then just keep in mind that because this is a new account, it is probably going to take at least 24 hours for any cost and usage data to actually populate in the console. All right, so that about wraps up how to set up and secure your AWS account for the very first time. If you found value in this video, then please don't forget to like it, and then please let me know down in the comments if there's any other videos that you want to see me make on this channel. Thank you for watching.